What is happening? Steve Mayeda here, and this is the Daily Awesome Podcast. Men, we are on a journey together to be our best selves. But what matters most is today on that journey, and that is now. So what we're talking about today is who would we be if we didn't have the worst days of our life? What kind of a man would we be if we didn't have the trauma? And see, this is it. We were talking about this earlier today or earlier on the call. We're almost 4 hours into it on our Wednesday night calls, December 20th, 2017. And man, I just got off a plane, man. I've been on the call ever since. My wife and kids are pissed. But hey, I just spent 2 weeks with them. It was awesome. It was beautiful, man. Can't disrespect them. But who would we be? Who would we be? And we just went out through the call, with the Steve-O's, the Jims, the RJs, the Collins, all these guys on here. Who would we be if we didn't have the worst days of our lives? The days of our lives where nothing made sense. Everything went wrong. The years, the pain, all those different things happening, lost, gone, robbed from us. Masculinity gone. We were talking about this, And so many men, are fucked. They're killing themselves. The way we do it as men was we kill ourselves in violent ways. I mean, one time I actually did overdose and was like, hey, man, I'm happy if I die. And that was with drugs, but we don't see that just disappearing of men. We see men go to war within ourselves. We see men go to war with the world around us. We see men not make sense out of anything to where we die in violence. We die in rage. We allow ourselves to waste away in the worst ways. But why is this? Is this masculinity, or is this the reaction to not having a place to go with masculinity? In any case, the Daily Awesome Podcast is a home for men's development, much like the home on these calls. If you're listening to this podcast, please subscribe because we put it on a new iTunes channel and a new YouTube channel. Be involved with what we do. Hit that subscribe button or whatever, likes on Stitcher, whatever, wherever you're listening to this. Pass it along. It's good shit. But most importantly, click the free stuff link down below that's prominently marked, because that gets you not only our free stuff on social dynamics, getting in shape, perspective, but it gets you involved in our groups, our free groups, but also our paid groups like Men's Development Excellence or TSL Online or TSL Life. These are huge things that, man, are a part of what we do. And what's so vitally important to all of this is that we connect. I mean, we're on a call 4 hours or 3 hours and 40 plus minutes that we're doing here on a Wednesday night. It's going to go for 2 more hours. On Sunday, we go 15. And it's a rotating group of guys talking about the reality of our lives, the truth, and holding each other accountable to our best selves, not by a standard set by society, but a standard set by you and what we believe in and what we know your potential is. There's no politics. There's no bullshit. There's none of this status or hierarchical stuff. It's about you being you. If that means you're a truck driver, if that means you're a firefighter, if that means you're a soldier, if that means you're an investment banker, if that means you're one of the best golf coaches in the world, how can you find your journey of masculinity today? And how can we as men fuel that and put you behind it? That's what we do. In any case, guys, let's talk about this, because we don't. What do we do with our bad days? What do we do? We put them in a box. We don't talk about them. We have this problem with masculinity in our culture today where we all want to be alpha and have those feelings of masculinity, which are there, man. Strength is there. Man, to win is a huge part of what we do. To have power is a huge part of what we do. To have ambition, to put our mark on the world, to be believed in by a woman, to fuck, to have all of this stuff that masculinity is seen as and advertised as and sold as is true. It's there. But we almost see it so much to the point where we negate the emotional side of it, the side where we do have pain. Where do we go with it? When we do cry, when we do get upset, we're confused about it. Does this make us weak? Do we need to compensate for it in some way? Like what happens here with our masculinity? And this is the sad part, because with me, my life was pigeonholed to so many different ways. And my main vehicle was addiction, whether that was drugs, later on through sex, but put me through the lowest points of my life. And like later on into recovery, when I became clean and when I started living sexually healthy, I still had problems. I still have problems today where my things in my life are taken away from me forever. And again, we were talking about this on our masculinity podcast, but they're taken away. And see, they're taken away from me But where I learned to be a man again from that is huge. And so we were talking about this. Steve-O jumped in, RJ jumped in. And there was two guys that went through divorces in our groups. And it was funny because RJ said, man, a year ago, I was the person that Steve was saying, nothing bad's happening to you right now. Your wife's leaving you. Your life's falling apart. Finances are gone. You're fucked. Everything you believed in, boom, gone from you. Nothing bad's happening to you. It hurts. It ain't going to go away. But this is the change. Who? And talking to the RJ now, who is he now? What kind of a man is he now? Who is he? Man, what would he be if he didn't have that pain? Because he's a great man, but he couldn't be that without that. And then the funny thing about that is 9 months before that, Steve-O, same thing. He said, man, Steve Mayeda was telling me, Terrence was telling me, Nolan was telling me on the calls, man, shut the fuck up, do the work, or whatever he was saying. Whose dick are you fucking with? Who are you in this world putting yourself out there? Whatever it was that was being stated. But those bad days, those tragedies that lasted for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, that lasted the entire year, that fucked you for 2017, put you in a shitter. But what did you do? Did you cave? Did you blame? Did you get angry? Did you get pissed off? Did you seek out masculinity in a fucking forum or a video series on YouTube like this one? Or did you seek out masculinity in a brotherhood that brought you up? And the distinction is very clear to us, because the men that we walk with together on here, when we have bad days, when we have tragedies, they hurt. We ain't going to stop that hurting. We pick up the phone, we call, we know that problem's not going to be solved. We know it's not going to be solved, but we gain faith in the process, hearing the stories of other men who found a solution when they were robbed, whether that it took their legs, whether it took their wife, whether it took their sex drive, whether man, that happened. You know, actually, it happens for everybody the older that we get. But this actually happened to a guy in his prime. You know, he lost the use of his testicles, of his balls, his dick. It was robbed from him. We are not going to change that solution for you. But what we can do is guide you into the realm of masculinity that you can always find no matter where you're at in your life, that you can find it. And that's the beauty of it. And see, when we don't get that, this is what's happening to men. Anger, rage, suicide, men tearing themselves apart over and over again, looking for a solution. And it's not there, man. We got a lot of pissed off men. We got a lot of pissed off men at women. We got a lot of pissed off men at the system. We got a lot of men who are given a shitty end of the stick. But see, here's the thing about life, and not to justify anybody who ever wronged you, but the thing about life is you are going to lose everything at one point, even your life. And the beauty of all of this is where do we take that? Now, who knows after we die? I don't fucking know, and I'm not even going to try and answer that question. But I know when I lost my ability to see my kids, when I lost my ability, God, to be an honest person. Or we were talking about STDs earlier. We were like, Jesus Christ, why is everybody so afraid of them? When I got, after the first person I had sex with, when I got my first STD, Jesus Christ, I thought my life was over. It's one of the best things that can happen to you because you learn to live with it. You learn the value of self-acceptance. You learn the value of moving on, of changing who you are when you've lost things, when you've lost your friend, when you've buried your friends, when your friend calls you up in the middle of the night and say, man, I need help. And you can't help him. And the next day he's fucking dead because he ate a bullet. How do you live with those things that you can never take away? And how do we change them as men? And one of the best things that we have is we have a circle where we talk constantly and we interact. And for us, this is the interesting thing. We're online, but we talk all the time. All the time. Post on the private Facebook group, the MD Excellence Facebook group, TSL Online Facebook group. Man, we're there. Fucking pick up the phone. We're there. Man, on these calls, we're there. We check in. We see what's going on. We talk to the guys who are younger asking about love or erectile dysfunction or porn addiction or whatever the fuck it is. All these different things about how do we talk to women? How do we get over social anxiety? All these different things. How do we go through this divorce? How do we walk through this fire? And the beauty of it all is is that we come out better because we've lived through the worst days of our life, and there's going to be more to come because that is life. Not minimizing it, not saying we shouldn't avoid it, not saying we shouldn't be not wise to the information of how we could fuck ourselves. But as men, we should never be afraid to live, because us and expressing ourselves, the greatest quality that we have, our self-expression, our ambition, our imprint on the world, our legacy, the plans that we had for that are going to be robbed, and they're going to make better ones. And it's the peace that you find inside yourself cannot be made without living through the worst days of your life. And who would we be, man? Just looking at this list of guys, if we didn't go through that, if I didn't have that, what the fuck would I be, man? I'd be somebody who feared. I'd be somebody who ran. I'd be somebody who wasn't at peace with myself. And I'll run today. I'll be afraid today. But I have no confusion about who I am in any of that. And what I'm running from, I'm doing it because it might kill me, rather than running from the image of myself. In any case, guys, Daily Awesome Podcast, we recorded this on the same day as the other masculinity one, and it's kind of a lot of overlap. Definitely check that out. But what we do here is we are about men's development, man. We are about empowering ourselves and masculinity and who we are into this world in the right ways. Like I said, there's no politics. There's no set guidelines. There's only the accountability of you and finding the strength and power in yourself and the ways to let that out. Man, we don't want to be a culture of men losing. We don't want to be a culture of men dying, of men being hurt, of men being in pain. We want to be a culture of men that have found our power and put that imprint on the world. That's what this podcast is about. Also, this is a new channel. We have our brother channel, which is the TSL channel. That's got a bunch of subscribers on it already. It's got a bunch of videos, got 800 videos. You can click on that link to check it out. Me wearing the pink shirt, presenting in Australia. That's where that's happening. And then also I put together some videos that you might find helpful if you like this one. In any case, Steve Mayeda signing out. Talk to you guys soon. Subscribe. Be a part of our family. It's an amazing one. Later.